The 10 Most Impressive Canvas by Pablo Picasso. Number 10. The Family of Acrobats. 1905. In 1905, during his evocative Rose period, Pablo Picasso created The Family of Acrobats, a work that captures the introspective and melancholic life of traveling artists. The painting shows a group of acrobats and circus performers in a desolate landscape, removed from the hustle and bustle of the show. Among them are a strong man, a female acrobat, and a child, possibly reflecting a family united by their craft and social isolation. Pink and orange tones dominate the palette, bringing warmth and a dreamlike atmosphere. However, the facial expressions and postures of the characters convey a deep loneliness and disconnection. Picasso uses soft lines and elongated shapes to emphasize the fragility and elegance of the figures, while the empty background reinforces the sense of isolation. The acrobats represent those who live on the fringes of society, a metaphor for the artist as an outside observer. The Family of Acrobats explores universal themes such as the search for identity, loneliness, and the need for human connection. This painting marks a crucial point in Picasso's artistic evolution, showcasing his ability to combine aesthetic beauty with emotional depth. The painting invites the viewer to empathize with the characters and reflect on the realities behind appearances, highlighting the shared humanity among all. Number 9. SelfPortrait. 1901. In 1901, at the young age of 19, Pablo Picasso painted a self-portrait that is a window into his emotional and artistic state at the beginning of his Blue period. In this self-portrait, the artist depicts himself with elongated features, an intense, melancholic gaze, and enveloped in deep blue tones that dominate the composition. The use of blue is not just aesthetic, it symbolizes the sadness, loneliness, and introspection that characterized this period of his life. The brushwork is loose but deliberate, providing a texture that adds depth to the portrait. The dark, penetrating eyes reflect a maturity and emotional charge that transcend his youth. This self-portrait was painted after the suicide of his close friend, Carlos Casagemas, an event that deeply impacted Picasso and influenced his work for several years. The painting is significant because it not only shows his technical skill, but also his ability to express complex emotions through art. It represents a transitional moment in his career, where he begins to explore deeper, more personal themes. This self-portrait is a statement of identity and an exploration of his own psyche, laying the groundwork for the innovations that would define his artistic legacy. Number 8. The Dream. 1932. The Dream, painted in 1932, is one of Pablo Picasso's most celebrated and sensual works, capturing his lover and muse Marie-Thérèse Walter in a moment of quiet introspection. The painting shows Marie-Thérèse asleep in an armchair, her head tilted back and her hands resting in her lap. Her face and body are depicted with curved lines and simplified shapes, fusing realism with surrealism. The color palette is vibrant and bold, dominated by reds, yellows, and greens that bring an energy and vitality to the scene. Picasso uses color contrasts and overlapping shapes to create a dynamic and harmonious composition. The depiction of Marie-Thérèse is both innocent and erotic, reflecting the complexity of their relationship and the profound influence she had on his life and work. The figure's relaxed posture suggests vulnerability and confidence, while the abstract shapes and intense colors invite the viewer to immerse themselves in the artist's inner world. The work is also known for its bold composition, which some interpret as an example of the hidden messages and symbolism that Picasso incorporated into his art. This painting is a testament to Picasso's inexhaustible creativity and his ability to combine emotion, technique, and innovation. The Dream remains one of the most admired and studied works, appreciated for its beauty and its ability to evoke deep emotions. Number 7. The Blue Room, 1901. In The Blue Room, painted in 1901, Pablo Picasso offers an intimate look at everyday life during his Blue period. The work shows the modest interior of a room where a naked woman is bathing, surrounded by simple elements such as an unmade bed, a chair, and a table with flowers. Blue tones dominate the scene, creating an atmosphere of tranquility and melancholy. The painting is notable for its detail and careful composition. Picasso uses soft brushstrokes and subtle lighting to enhance the textures and shapes within the room. The woman, though central to the scene, appears integrated into the surroundings, suggesting a harmony between the individual and their personal space. The intimacy of the scene invites the viewer to contemplate the beauty in the everyday and the serenity in simplicity. The work reflects the Impressionist and Post-Impressionist influences on the young Picasso, while also showing his growing interest in depicting emotions and moods. This painting is an early example of his ability to combine technique and feeling, laying the groundwork for his later artistic developments. Number 6. Three Musicians, 1921. The Three Musicians, painted in 1921, is one of Pablo Picasso's masterpieces that exemplifies synthetic cubism at its finest. The painting depicts three figures dressed as a harlequin, Pierrot, and monk, playing musical instruments in a complex and colorful composition. At first glance, the work appears almost abstract, but closer observation reveals the recognizable figures and elements. Picasso uses flat, overlapping geometric shapes to construct the scene, playing with perspective and space. The colors are vibrant and contrasting, with shades of blue, red, yellow, and brown providing energy and dynamism. The lack of depth and juxtaposition of shapes create a collage-like feel, which was a distinctive feature of synthetic cubism. The characters depicted can be interpreted as alter egos of the artist and his friends, symbolizing collaboration and creativity. Three Musicians is also an exploration of the relationship between form and content, challenging traditional conventions of representation and perception. This painting is one of Picasso's most recognized and studied, highlighting his genius for combining conceptual complexity with visual appeal. Three Musicians continues to inspire artists and viewers alike, demonstrating the enduring power of cubism and the artist's boundless imagination. Number 5. The Old Guitarist, 1903-1904. The Old Guitarist, created between 1903 and 1904 during Picasso's Blue period, is a work that encapsulates the deep melancholy and compassion that characterize this stage of his career. The painting depicts an elderly street musician, hunched over his guitar, with his eyes closed and an expression of pain and isolation. Monochromatic blue tones intensify the atmosphere of sadness and emphasize the fragility of the subject. The figure of the guitarist is elongated and exaggerated, reflecting influences of expressionism and providing an almost ghostly quality. The guitar, in contrast to the rest of the palette, stands out in brown tones and symbolizes the connection between the musician and his art, possibly his only source of solace. Picasso explores themes of poverty, isolation, and human struggle, reflecting his own experiences and observations of life on the streets of Barcelona and Paris. This painting is considered one of the most iconic of the Blue period and demonstrates Picasso's ability to combine technique, emotion, and social message in his art. Number 4. Woman in Front of the Mirror. 1932. In Woman in Front of the Mirror, painted in 1932, Pablo Picasso presents one of his most iconic and symbolically charged works, again inspired by his muse Marie-Thérèse Walter. The painting shows a young woman looking at her reflection in a mirror, but the reflection is a distorted and darker version of herself. The composition is filled with curved shapes, geometric patterns, and vibrant colors that provide depth and meaning. Picasso explores themes of identity, self-image, and duality. The contrast between the real figure and its reflection suggests an introspection on how we see ourselves versus how we really are or how others perceive us. The abstract shapes and the overlapping of elements add complexity, inviting the viewer to interpret multiple layers of meaning. The color palette is rich and varied, with reds, yellows, greens, and purples creating a captivating visual effect. The use of cubism and surrealism allows Picasso to challenge conventions and depict emotions and abstract concepts in a visually striking manner. The work is a reflection of Picasso's personal relationship with Marie-Thérèse and his ongoing exploration of the female form and the human psyche. This painting continues to be an object of study and admiration, highlighting the artist's ability to combine aesthetic beauty with emotional and conceptual content. Number 3. The Weeping Woman. 1937. The Weeping Woman, created in 1937, is one of Pablo Picasso's most emotional and powerful works, and is closely related to his monumental Guernica. The painting depicts Dora Maar, his lover and muse, in a state of extreme distress, her face distorted by pain and tears. The intense colors and angular shapes intensify the sense of despair and tragedy. The work is a direct response to the horrors of the Spanish Civil War and the bombing of Guernica. Through the figure of the crying woman, Picasso personifies the suffering and injustice inflicted on the innocent. The distortion of the facial features and the fragmentation of the image reflect the chaos and destruction of war. Picasso uses a contrasting color palette, including reds, yellows, and blues, which bring dynamism and drama to the composition. Details such as the diamond-shaped teardrops and clenched hands add emotional depth and symbolism. The work highlights Picasso's ability to use art as a means of protest and expression of solidarity with the victims of war. This painting is considered one of the most intense and moving portraits of the 20th century and remains relevant as a universal symbol of human suffering. Number 2. The Young Ladies of Avignon. 1907. The Young Ladies of Avignon, painted in 1907, is one of Pablo Picasso's most revolutionary works and a milestone in the history of modern art. The painting depicts 5 naked women in a brothel on Avignon Street in Barcelona, but far from a traditional representation, Picasso breaks with all established conventions. The figures are fragmented and distorted, with influences from African and early Iberian art, challenging perspective and classical beauty. The composition is aggressive and direct. The women look at the viewer without shame, creating an uncomfortable confrontation. Picasso uses sharp geometric shapes and superimposed planes, laying the foundations of cubism. The faces of the figures on the right are inspired by African masks, reflecting his interest in non-Western art and his search for new expressions. The color palette is earthy, with shades of pink, brown, and blue that provide depth and volume. The lack of traditional perspective and the distortion of forms create a sense of flat and fragmented space. The work challenged aesthetic norms and opened up new possibilities for the representation of reality. Although it was initially received with bewilderment and rejection, over time it has been recognized as one of the most influential paintings of the 20th century. This work marks the beginning of Cubism and reflects Picasso's audacity and genius in his constant search to break barriers and reinvent artistic language. Number 1. Guernica, 1937. Guernica, painted in 1937, is indisputably Pablo Picasso's most iconic and powerful work. Created in response to the bombing of the Basque town of Guernica by German and Italian planes during the Spanish Civil War, the painting is a monumental black and white mural measuring over 7 meters long and 3.5 meters high. Guernica is a visceral denunciation of violence, war, and human suffering. The composition is chaotic and full of symbols: a bull, a dying horse, screaming women, a mother with her dead child, a fallen soldier, and an eye-shaped light illuminating the scene. Picasso uses a combination of Cubist and Expressionist styles to fragment the figures and convey horror and despair. The absence of color intensifies the dramatic atmosphere and universalizes the message. The work is rich in symbolism and has been the subject of countless interpretations. The bull can represent brutality and darkness, while the horse symbolizes innocent victims. The eye-shaped lamp can be seen as a representation of truth or conscience. Picasso left the interpretation open, allowing Guernica to resonate with different audiences and contexts. The painting became a powerful anti-war symbol and a call to reflection on the atrocities of war. It has been exhibited around the world and continues to be a reminder of the devastating consequences of armed conflict. The creation of Guernica cemented Picasso as an artist committed to and aware of his role in society. The work is a testament to his ability to channel outrage and pain into a piece of art that transcends time and place. Guernica remains one of the greatest achievements of 20th century art and an enduring representation of human resilience in the face of barbarism. Thank you for watching our video. Subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Give it a like, comment your thoughts, and share this video with your friends and family.